Hello adventurers and welcome to another video from the Stief Adventure Academy. Today we're going to be looking at this guy, the Artisan Cutlery Ravine. Now this has been a really tough review, folks. I can't even lie to you. I have had this knife in my pocket for probably 2 weeks, so first thing, of course, I've broken my rule about everyday carry being every day. I have had to change my everyday carry status insofar as a friend of mine, Nick, has been lent me a couple of pieces. Last time's misidentified Civivi Odium, and this correctly identified, I hope, Artisan Cutlery Ravine. So this is a tough knife to review because it is probably fantastic, and it's fundamentally outside of my normal aesthetic. And since pocket knives are not just about function but also about form, it's been really tricky. So I've spent some extra time, more than it would normally take me to make up my mind, really drilling into what makes this knife outstanding. Excuse me. So, some of the highlights. I mean, really, this thing is awesome. It'll go 10 for 10 with the flipper tab. The detent is spectacular. It runs on a ceramic bearing, which is pretty good. I don't know that I really noticed the difference between a ceramic and a steel ball bearing, except that ceramic is, strictly speaking, higher hardness than steel. And so hopefully there's a washer in here to wear out rather than wearing out the blade or the liners. This has a steel liner with the liner lock. As you can see, lockup's really nice. It's got a decent walk and talk. It's got a carbon fiber walk and talk. Let's listen. Once more. So what you're not getting is that satisfying snap into place like you would with a titanium knife or even some aluminum knives. But it does have a real nice little quiet nick to it, which is still very satisfying. And the fact that this knife deploys every single time without a lot of crazy effort. That was a particularly weak one on my side. I'll just let you know. There's no way you can tell on the camera. But that was a weak one. It really snaps open nicely. Excuse me again. Every once in a while you get shaking hands with folks. You get yourself a cold. But you know what? There's no such thing as too many siblings in the kingdom. So a little bit of this and that just means your humanity is creeping up on you. The carbon fiber in this knife is what I would say second to none. And as a connoisseur of carbon fiber from cycling and aviation, I will tell you that this carbon fiber's got a really nice look. It's got a great three-dimensional. It has a nice dimension, I guess. What I'm fumbling to say, but it looks good at every angle. It's finished very well. Something I might change: I would put a little extra chamfer in the carbon fiber, running down the inside of the spine of the knife where your finger lands when you deploy the knife. It just feels like it needs a few minutes of take it apart and then 1,000 grit sandpaper love just to take the edge off it a little bit. I haven't gotten any splinters, and frankly, if you've never had a carbon fiber splinter, you are living a pretty good life, because carbon fiber splinters hurt now and forever. It's like fiberglass, only pointier. Not a lot of fun. But this knife is just entirely too well finished for that. And the lines. I mean, look at the lines on this thing. I love the way the handle has got this thing coming, this plane, and then it drops down. And then it repeats this plane here on the top portion of the spine. And then this angle down the spine of the blade repeats this angle. In here, the cutouts are very well done. They clearly add to the aesthetic of the knife rather than just being something that they did. I'm looking at you, Civivi. Your cutouts to me look a little bit haphazard, and frankly, maybe they were made with a crayon. But this thing is This thing just screams artisan. It really does. I don't think, well, let's put it this way. I've got a Cold Steel Warcraft and I feel supremely blessed to own a knife from Cold Steel in that quality. And the reason I like it so much, as well as the Recon, which of course hasn't left my EDC, doesn't matter how nice the artisan is, this knife screams Cold Steel. If you were looking for one knife to rule them all, the Warcraft is it. This is the folding Warcraft in my mind, as I've said on other videos. But if you want to think about Cold Steel, I bet when you say Cold Steel to people, this is probably the knife they're thinking of. Now, maybe in a different livery because they have different taste. However, Cold Steel, Recon 1, no one will dispute that that is a Cold Steel knife. This is absolutely an artisan cutlery knife. I'm loving this kind of crazy, weird, it's just a flat screw. But how much effort did it take to come up with that idea and then to execute it so well? It's got a real thin lanyard hole through it too, which in my mind is kind of a neat way to do the lanyard hole. Frankly, it's mechanical, lanyard hole, functional, very fun. Overall, the cutting edge is pretty nice. Now, I would love to, if I owned this, excuse me again, folks. If I owned this, I would absolutely, because of this flat grind, I would lay that grind way down, which makes it a little taller on the blade, more easy to see. I would absolutely polish it out because this is an artisan cutlery. It's just so nice. I do find that the tip could use a little extra something because it's difficult to open a package by poking into and then cutting. You really have to have slicey, and it doesn't have any belly hardly at all, if any, and so it's not a slicey knife, even though it looks like a cleaver. Food processing with this has been rudimentary at my house because I don't own it, but it really wants to slice. It's just a lot of fun. That laser cut steel logo, so cool. Downsides real briefly, because frankly there aren't that many. It doesn't quite have the walk and talk that I might look for, although it's very good. The clip, frankly, is the only real issue. The clip is... I really like the person who lent me this knife, and I really like this knife. If they had spent more than 2 seconds thinking about and then executing this clip, this knife would be even better. I feel like this knife probably needs a low profile, something in the same shape family, but a machined titanium clip would really set this thing off. But it would probably crash right into the price point and raise it. I don't know how much is a titanium clip worth to me. A clip that was better than that might take the knife up to the $200 range in Canada. Its knife may even be in the $200 range because I'm just remembering that I was looking at the American website. So, overall, the clip really is an afterthought. It's just, there's nothing. It's a little bit clippy, but it doesn't hold its tension. I mean, it's very easy to move. I'm not putting any hardly effort into there. Anyway, moving on. One thing you'll definitely want to do is a little purple Loctite, the 222. Not the blue 242. It's Loctite for small screws. Much better to Loctite your screws every year or two rather than have them glued in place because you used a Loctite that's entirely too strong for the application and make a mess. The clip does tend to hunt around in the screws as well because the holes in the clip are not drilled to the correct dimension, but it's an afterthought. And so I don't want to give any more time to what I didn't like about this knife because frankly it's just entirely too nice. And look at it. I mean, look at it. I missed that one because that was the weakest of the deployments. But look at this knife. It's so beautiful. It's got great lines. Even outside of my aesthetic, I appreciate this knife at a high level. Finger choil, if you're into those things, I don't tend to be. The handle is very comfortable, except for the clip. Yeah, great blade steel, nice execution. It's just two little things: a little extra time with the chamfering on the inside of the carbon fiber just to give you that real luxury feel, and a clip that, you know, had some thought put into it rather than just... Anyway, I'll digress. No one should decide not to buy this knife or resist this knife because of the clip. If this floats your boat, and I'm betting it does, you should absolutely jump on that grenade and just probably, honestly, I would probably put the clip in a drawer somewhere. I'll leave it in the box and move on. And so that is our review. Frankly, almost a long-term review. It's been in our pockets for jumpins'. Just a little, I think coming up to 2 weeks. I'd love to get it returned. I really had to crank out this video. I was hoping to do something in the wilds of Albert County rather than the more urban setting. However, this knife just really deserves a second look if you were thinking about it. And really, once you take the clip off, fix the scales yourself. Who doesn't love the mod knives? I definitely do. That would make me very happy to do that. This is a solid piece of pocket jewelry. On every way and on every day, with a handful of artisan cutlery. This is Stief Adventure, hoping that you will stay sharp. Bye for now.